First of all, I think the most obvious question is being on Barack Obama's music list, and the fact that cold mess and toxic relationships and your writing and then and that is the first question, but there'll be many more. We'll start with that.
Uh, about Cold Mess.
Yes, of course, and it
Yeah,
reaching.
I mean, I guess I always feel like that's such old news now. It was like 2018 when that album came out,
Yeah.
and but I guess like it was just an year and a half ago when it happened on the Obama list. That was a cool thing. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know. You have any like specific questions about it?
Question is about the making of it, and I believe it's
About the
it's a
making of it,
yeah.
we started. I'd been playing that song live for a while, like since 2015, 2016, and yeah, the album just kind of came together over the years. Slowly, the more songs I wrote, like I started picking out, they just naturally kind of came together as the 6 songs that they ended up being. And we produced it in Nashville with these two really amazing producers, uh, uh, Conrad Snyder and Peter Gronwald. Um, and Yeah, then I toured with it a bunch. Yeah, actually, and I think that's one thing that really helped in, uh, you know, really popularizing the record was all the touring I did around it. I mean, from 2018 till 2020, so pretty much uh, till the start of 2020 when we couldn't tour anymore. I was pretty much on the road the whole time, like almost for an year and a half. Uh, Half of 2018 after the EP came out, all of 2019. I think 2019 we counted and I did like 75 or 80 shows almost that year. Uh, so because these did like multiple tours. We did one US tour in March and then another tour in the summer and then like all of India and then another US tour in November and then a UK and Europe tour as well in November. So we just toured a lot. And I think all of that really like helped. It's just like that's what you know came together to really push the song. The video did really, really well. I think I was really lucky to come across like the most amazing, video team I've ever worked with. Really, for Cold Mess, like they did just Jukar production. They did an amazing job with that video, and Jim and Zoya were in it. Who are these two actors from India who are very, very talented.
Yeah.
I think all of it, kind of came together for that EP.
Okay, so do you also contribute to the way it's presented? Do you, I mean, during the production, because you've written it, so do you visualize it and share?
Yeah,
So, okay, so all
yeah, I'm
your
pretty much like part of the process, top to bottom, everything. We get a lot of ideas from people, and it's different for every song, everything. Like there's certain songs and stuff that I have very strong visual ideas for already. Pretty much all my artworks, for example, I've made or I've been a big part of conceptualized so far. So like all the artworks for Cold Mess, I conceptualized it. A friend of mine who's a photographer helped me execute it. uh, for Shehron Ke Raaz, I did the artwork. For Kasoor, I did the artwork. For Tum Jab Paas, I did the artwork.
right.
Uh, so like I always like doing my artworks and then coming up with like the broad visual ideas, and then we get like professionals and to really flesh it out and polish it because uh, but I'm a pretty I like being involved in everything. Yeah.
Tell me about your early years in Rajasthan and how does that background enter your music today? Does it, and how does it?
It doesn't at all actually. I almost feel like I've forgotten
I'm
my
not talking.
early years.
Yeah, I'm not talking
Sorry.
about the way Rajasthan is presented cliche in the way. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
ability and does it
yeah.
resonate?
Even that, yeah, even that, it almost does. I mean, I just had a really different life growing up, and I think what really, uh, I don't know, just gave me a lot of insight and control over my life was my time in New York. And I think a part of it was definitely that it was New York. It's a very vibrant city, but I think I also just needed to get away from, you know, the very quintessential environment we grow up in India, where I think it's pretty sheltered overall for most of us. We grow up with our parents being a strong influence, and our school and our teachers being a very, very strong influence. And I think individual and free thinking is not encouraged that
Yes.
much.
Yeah.
So, and that's the polar opposite of how you function if you're going to college in New York by yourself, because you're just doing everything yourself. You're pretty disconnected from life back home because you're in different time zones. You're just going by your day completely by yourself. You're taking every decision yourself. I think that's what really made me the person I am today. Like my time I spent by myself, really. Um, so and a lot of my writing, like a lot my writing started there as well. That being said, like I started doing music from a pretty early age, so I was into that. So I think it definitely, like, sparked that whole thing. Like I wouldn't have been a musician if I hadn't started doing it when I was. And it's weird, like, but how it happened in Jaipur growing up was really by chance. I mean, it was just a series of like flukes, really. I mean, I tried learning the guitar, it didn't work out. Then it kind of worked out. I found a teacher, I started learning it, and I found friends who were into it also, and we did a lot of like singing and playing together. And uh, it was weird, and it was very small. Like there's no music community really in Jaipur. So I think it's just a handful of me and my friends and a few other people I knew who were doing anything at all. So it was just, but I think like internet had started coming up by then, and like MP3s was floating around. So you at least had access to music for the first time, I think. Like if I was born 10 years ago, I probably wouldn't have been a musician or like had even access to kind of the things that I did growing up. So yeah, I'm lucky for that.
And you went to study maths. So tell me about the
Yeah, I
maths.
did. Yeah.
Tell me about the
I mean,
maths.
what else does a Indian kid from, a small town do? Who, yeah, I mean, you have to do something like that, right? So that was just like, and it was, and my parents are really cool. Like they're very actually really progressive and chill, and there was never any control. That's another like thing I was really lucky about. Like my parents never forced me, which is the quintessential Indian parents image that's out there, that they like. And I mean, I personally don't weirdly, like, none of my friends' parents are like that either. Like, but my parents didn't really like uh, force me to do that. But it's just growing up that was just naturally, you just didn't really uh, consider music as a serious thing. So I picked math because I actually like it. Believe it or not, a lot of people get surprised when I see that, because I feel like math has really polarized opinions. People either hate it or love it. I really loved it. Like in school, actually, it was the only subject I enjoyed studying, and I actually did well also in math. Like weirdly did really badly in like chemistry and English in my boards, for example. And I got like 99 in maths just because I liked it. So I did like really badly in other stuff. So overall, I was not a good student, but like I was an average student, I guess. But so that's why I took math in college, and because that was the only thing I guess I didn't really hate. And then it kind of like music kind of happened in New York more. It just took like a more serious kind of turn.
And the fact that there were people who believed in your kind of music and you decided to go independent, because largely in India, you have Bollywood, the big pantheon of Bollywood,
Yeah,
which is the vehicle. And now here, independent music today is becoming so popular and so, widespread that you
yeah,
don't need a vehicle to
yeah,
be launched.
yeah. You don't, which is such a good thing. I mean,
Yeah.
it's such a great thing, because Bollywood has a very specific way of operating, which I think is quite. It's not a very. It's counterproductive to being creative, to be honest. Like, uh, and not all of it. Like, there's definitely like pockets of it, and there's people involved who are really cool and doing cool stuff. But it's a lot of it is like that. It's just very controlled by. It's it's dominated by the film. Okay, and that's an art form in itself. and
Yeah.
it's amazing. And I think Bollywood does a really amazing job of that. But it's not focused on musicians, right? So like if a musician is coming in, like the music is not the priority, the film is the priority. So everything is kind of written around it. So you can function in it and
Yeah.
you can do cool things.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people who are really passionate about, you know, making music for film, and that's is a really fun thing to do. But that's the only way to operate. So if you want to do your own thing, like you can't do it. That's the only advantage of like the indie scene coming up. Like you can actually make your own music that doesn't have to be associated with a film, you know. And there should be both. Like everywhere else in the world there's room for both, right? Like which is how it should be, I think, and hopefully that's changing.
Yeah, you liked Lucky Ali from India in your early days because he was one of those few independent
Yeah,
music people who made music. And then, of course, tell me about the Bollywood music you liked and have admired.
so much. I mean, I heard so much Bollywood growing up because that was the only kind of music out there, right? I mean, all of A.R. Rahman, you know, all of
Yeah,
his stuff, really. I mean, he's like the one really consistently good, uh, musician in film. And I think like, uh, I heard a lot of Shankar Ehsaan Loy, a lot of like Shankar Ehsaan Loy records from back when I was growing up, especially were really great. Um, uh, yeah, yeah.
okay, about writing. So lyrics are a lot to do with poetry, philosophy, or lived experience, and a lot of your writing has. I mean, you of course the voice is very soothing, but sometimes the lyrics are something that is they need not be felt like it need not be experiences of your own life, but they're very identifiable,
Mm.
large, which is why there's a lot of connect to what you also sing. Uh, okay, the question is: do you aim to soothe or disturb? Because entertainment is both.
I don't aim to do either, really. I mean, I just aim to write a good song.
Okay.
Uh, and I kind of do it for myself, really. Like, I love the whole process. Uh, it gets me really excited. Just making music, making the record in the studio, getting the studio, or like crafting a song, then crafting an album with a bunch of songs. I just find it really exciting. It's really satisfying when it comes out, when people like it, when people listen to it. But that's not the goal, you know. I mean, it is the goal. Obviously, I want people to love my music. But when I'm making it, like you're in a different sort of a zone, and you're just trying to make something that's really good, and you're kind of hoping that people like it, and trying to make sure it doesn't get in your head too much, though, because if you just start doing stuff that you think is good, then it's just, and it's a really complicated thing, like writing. And so it's a weird thing where you shouldn't think about it too much, but you do. So you have to keep correcting yourself, and stay out of your own way. Like,
Language today is so politically charged that you have to be so careful about not being this and not being that and not offending this sensibility and that
yeah,
sensibility. Occur to you when you're writing, or you just write.
no, yeah, I try my best not to think about it. That's the one thing I don't like about today. Just like, just I mean, it's just very critical. Like everybody's always waiting to just like, you know
Yeah.
get on your back about something, and that is really truly going to hinder artistic processes for everybody in general. Because like, you have to everybody's gonna make mistakes. I'm gonna say something that's offensive someday, probably, even though I don't intend to, and we're all humans. And we're gonna probably write something, and it's not, and sometimes it's intentional and it's bad, and you should get called out for it. And other times it's not, and there's a balance there. And I think like we've kind of like come away from that balance a little bit. It's gone a little bit too much, where people are almost just waiting to penalize somebody. And I mean, whatever. If it happens, it happens. Like, like, I want to try and make, not think about that too much, and focus on just making really good stuff.
Will you play something for us?
No, I don't, I can't actually. I don't have like any instruments here, really. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, tell me, how brave is it to follow your own voice and not, and the fact that you had a inner compass that you listened to and you moved towards this space. How brave was it? How, because it's not easy to be in this space.
I don't, I don't know. I mean, I think like people do braver things, really. I mean, I did a pretty like, uh, just self-serving thing more than anything else. People think of it as brave, but really, I just did it for myself. It was scary at points for sure,
Yeah,
but and it still is sometimes, like definitely. But I just like, I mean, I think I get bored very easily in general, and if things are just not, you know, it's just like living in fear about things is just too boring beyond a point. Like you have to just take some risks and all. So I guess in that sense, like I'm a risk taking person. Like I'll jump and like I'll do things that scare me a lot. And uh but it's self-serving. It's not really like brave makes it sound very uh noble or something. It's not. I like doing this stuff. It's really fun being an artist. Like people don't know.
daring would be
Like
better than brave.
yeah, maybe daring. Yeah, sure. I'm daring, sure.
And tell me about writing. When you're writing it, and words come out. The lyric, does it have to be lyrical when you write it, or you go back to draft and
No, it's usually like starts of being pretty. I mean, when you're in the zone of writing a song, you don't just write stuff that's, just prose completely. But it's a mixture. Like usually like the lines spurting out will be very rhythmic. Everybody has a different style. The way I do it a lot is like I do a lot of like just spontaneous blurting out of stuff. So I'll be playing the guitar and I'll just blurt stuff out that makes no sense at all, but
yeah,
it's a loose melody and it's just some words in there, and I
yeah,
record that stuff and then I listen back to it and I find stuff in there which is really cool, and I put it together, and then I
yeah,
start polishing it, and building upon it and like actually actively changing things. So there's like a real spontaneous and flowy part where you just do whatever and don't think about it too much, and then there's a part afterwards which come later, sometimes come days after or weeks after, where
yeah.
you really get into like fine tuning stuff.
You've also been part of very few Bollywood films, um, and they've been. And in fact, one of Irfan's last films have been
Yeah,
one of the songs has been yours. What was that experience like? Did you?
both my films, honestly, like I didn't even meet anybody
Ah,
from the production team. Like it was all on the phone. Like the first one was Bar Bar Dekho, and me and Jasleen had already written that song like 3 years ago. Like 3 years before the film came out, we had just written a song for something else. Like she was trying to like write for a film like 2 3 years before Barbar Dekho came out, and she was like, she called me and she said, "Do you want to work on something?" I said, "Sure." And then we wrote that song, and it sat on her phone and my phone for 2 years because it
okay,
she couldn't place it in whatever that film was. I don't know what it was. And then 2 years later she calls me, and we didn't stay in touch really, honestly. Like, I met her that time and then I never saw her again, never heard from each other again. And 2 years later she called me and said, "Hey, got placed in a film. Are you cool with this?" I was like, "Yeah, for sure." Go for it. I didn't know what film it was till I saw the poster online, to be honest. I didn't even know what film it was. Yeah. I
okay.
didn't know what film is what, and like then she said it's coming out in 2 weeks, and I was like, "Oh yeah, what film is it, by the way?" And then she sent me the link to the Wikipedia page about like it coming out, and I was like, "Oh, like that's a pretty big film, I guess." So for
So,
me, it was like I had no idea. Like I just wrote the song really, which was
so
great. Like I didn't have to deal with any of that other stuff. Like I just wrote the song.
right. So when you saw it,
Jasleen did all the hard work.
when you watched it on screen, did it?
I never saw the film actually.
You haven't seen the song on screen.
No,
Why is it? Are you scared of it? Why didn't you see it?
no. I just didn't see it because I saw Karma. I just
Yeah,
didn't see it because everybody said it was really bad.
okay. Which is
It
bad.
was a flop. it didn't do well also, and everybody did say it was really really bad, so I just didn't bother seeing it. But my all my parents went and saw it. I think I was like busy, like I think I was not in India when it came out. I think I was touring or something for a few months, and
Okay.
so I didn't make the effort of seeing it. But my whole family, my parents, everybody went and saw it. And then by the time I came back, everybody had seen it and they were like, don't bother seeing it. So I was like, okay. And then I just never got around to it. But yeah, the song did really well. It was a really cool song. And me and Justine had fun writing it for sure.
Are you working on something similar, or that's not your aim at all?
Yeah, and I don't like doing not I won't say I don't like doing it. I like doing it sometimes, but I'm just trying to focus more on my records and my albums now, like just writing for myself. And we get syncs now a lot more. That has started happening in India a lot more. It happens a lot in the West, where it's just like they take your existing catalogs and songs and place it in a film or a TV show or something. So that happens a lot. I had like Cold Mess placed in this TV show called, I think it's called All American Dream, if I'm not wrong, which is like a pretty popular show here in the US. And they play Cold Mess in it. We have like a few other things that have happened. Uh, one of my Hindi songs got synced to a I think a Netflix film, which is going to come out soon as well. I mean,
Mismatched,
I don't think I can say what it is. Huh?
your song as well, right? Mismatched.
Mismatched, yeah, but Mismatched I wrote for them. Like,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, Akash did Mismatched, and he's the same guy who did uh Karva.
Yeah.
And so he wanted to I met him, like not during the film the
Yeah.
writing process, but afterwards we hung out one time.
Okay.
And he's a really cool guy. But yeah, even with Karma, for example, it was all on the phone. There I was like a lot more actively involved though. Like I definitely like got the script, read through it, knew the two places I had to write for. Me and Akash spoke many times, did a bunch of back and forth, and I was a lot more involved in that film because they got me on board specifically to write two specific songs for it. And same with Mismatched, same way, like me and Akash talked a bunch about the script and everything. And then I did this another thing called Kuch Na Kaho for a Netflix thing as well. It's called Ajeeb Dastan. It came out recently as well. Yeah, so one of the films for that, and that was the same way. Like they reached out to me. The guy who directed it, Kayo, he reached out to me and just again talked a lot about the script, walked me through it. I wrote the song. So, but I'm trying to do less and less of that.
Less of that. I thought you were going to do more of that because you've got chances.
No, it's just like that's what I was saying. I prefer writing my own stuff. I've realized over the years, like just for myself. So if I write something and it gets placed in a film and somebody finds, like that song works for their film or that, like that's great.
Yeah.
But writing bespoke for a film is, for a specific situation is just, uh, you know, I wouldn't do it unless it's really exciting me.
And how is the
I'll do
lockdown
it
been?
though. I don't know.
Yeah.
I might do it though because I don't know. I keep changing my mind about things also a lot in life in general.
And how much of travel is important for a person like you to open yourself into? Is it important at all today? Because there
Nor,
is.
yeah, I think like uh, it's weird. I never liked traveling so much. Even when I was in college, all my friends wanted to go for study abroad. I was in NYU in New York, and it was very easy to do one semester abroad in a cool country like Italy or Africa. Like a lot of my friends went to Ghana, and some of my friends went to Florence, and I just didn't go because I was just like I can't be bothered like shifting everything, and like I didn't really care. Like I never had a thing for countries and traveling that much, which is very ironic because once I started touring, I've been like everywhere. I've just spent like a day or two in just 150 cities all over the world. So I've actually ironically traveled a lot for somebody who never really wanted to see much of the world in the first place. I don't think like it does anything to me though. Actually, like I get inspired more by just a lot of self reflection, consuming like books and films and TV and conversations with people, like just ideas, like exchange of ideas. Like that's the kind of stuff that really inspires me and gets me excited. Like having a lot of, but just looking at things doesn't do anything for me.
What did you read recently that has moved you?
I haven't read much in a while, to be honest. I've been listening to a lot of podcasts. There's a lot of like podcasters I follow now, mostly talking about like psychology and neuroscience and just like a lot of other stuff about just general life. And I listen to a lot of that stuff lately. I've been really into that. So I haven't been reading that much. The last book I tried to read, which I think I stopped reading, was I can't even remember. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, what do you think is the reason that people connect to you? Have you ever reflected on that?
I don't know. I can't say for sure, but whenever people ask me this in an interview, I always say that it's because I think I'm honest about my feelings, because that seems like a reasonable answer. But I do think like, I mean, I also say it because I think it's partially true. I can't say for sure. I mean, uh I bet like a lot of other people are really true about their feelings and all, and that that doesn't quite work out into actually having. I think it's a combination of things. I think I am real about stuff and all, but I'm also really exacting. Like I put in a lot of work in my craft, which a lot of people just don't. Or also like a lot of people get too deep into it and never end up putting out music at all. Like I know musicians who just get yeah, too much. And I think I have a good balance. I put deadlines and I have like a good balance for A brain and a B brain, which works for me.
Very organized as a person.
I'm pretty organized, yeah. I'm very organized person. for a for an artist, I'm very organized. I
You're
think
an artist.
because
You also have a maths background, so you have to be calculative somewhere, no?
yeah, I'm very calculative as well. Yeah, I'm very like organized and artistic. The
Yeah.
artist, the stereotype is not like that. It's just somebody who just walks in and does whatever they want. But I'm just not like that. I have a routine, and I get very anxious if I don't follow that routine. And like I'm very particular about things. Actually, yeah, I'm pretty. Yeah,
Let your creativity flow, which is not at all linear. It can come anytime. There's also this
yeah,
uncertainty, right?
yeah. Sorry. What did you say? Let my
Yeah, so you have an organized way of life, but you also have this entire pool of creativity, which has I mean, it can't be like,
yeah.
boxed,
So
put in a box. Yeah.
that's the equation I make. Like if I feel like I'm really flowing with something, then I'll let things go for a while. But when I'm back to it, then I'm just back again on like, I want to eat at a certain time and sleep at a certain time and like know what I'm doing in a day. Like I can't have a holiday. Like I can never holiday when I go on a holiday because I'm too stressed out about what we're gonna do next.
Yeah.
Like so if you go on a holiday, like I need to know what's happening, where am I staying? Is it like according to how I want it to be? Am I traveling with everything that I need to get through those 5 days? Like there's too many logistics in it for me to be relaxed. So it's really weird. So, but like when I'm writing and stuff, I'll just put it's just it's weird. It helps me focus also. I feel like when I'm writing and stuff, I kind of forget about all that stuff, and I can actually go 4 hours without thinking about what happened sometimes. That's the
So,
only time I'm not organized.
so your order and chaos are balanced.
I guess so.
Okay. And
Maybe that's a good way to put it. I never thought about that, but yeah.
yeah, there are two aspects, right? There is this very Apollonian side, which is like order, balance, and then you have the other side, which is the Dionysian,
Hmm.
which is everything which is chaotic. But if you put the
Hmm.
right brain together, you're very well wired that way.
I guess.
Okay. What about your numbers are soothing, lovely. What about have you also experimented on other genres like fast, something quick and fast, and something
I don't,
slow? What about
I don't know. I don't really like try to push myself to do anything that I know. For one, it's a weird thing. Like a lot of people say, especially like fans will say that like try something different and all, and I don't like people telling me what to do. So that's like one reason I almost don't want to do it, because people ask me this like, why don't you try a different one? You know what? Now I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna do exactly what I did for the past 10 years, whether
Yeah.
you like it or not. So that's like one part of my brain. And then there is definitely stuff I want to explore, and I do, but it just never really sees the light of day. And uh, I've been thinking about this, and I think it's just because like it takes time to get good at anything new you do. Like uh, I mean, as like writers, as a songwriter, like I started writing stuff I liked listening to, right? And that was a lot of really folksy stuff in the beginning. I loved that stuff, and I still do. But I also love other stuff now. But back then, I was really obsessed with a certain genre, and I was writing a lot in that because I just wanted to write songs like that, and I want to make records like that, and I did. And then over the years, I've changed. I've started listening to a lot of other stuff. But
Yeah.
then, to do that kind of stuff, you have to build that skill set, and it takes time. So it's not like it happens in a month, even though you're working on it and chipping, and you have to like unlearn a lot of things also. So it's a process, and I'm not gonna put out something that's bad, you
You.
know. And there's, sorry.
You'll not put out something that is not you, something that you've not.
No, it's not about me or not me. It's just about good or bad. So like if I'm like, say for example, if I'm trying to like I mean, and I'm not trying to do this, but just hypothetically, if I was to put out a metal album, like something really different, or like rock, or like pop, or not pop, but like I guess I've done a lot of pop stuff already, but just like a rap, for
Yeah.
example, like a hip hop song,
Yeah.
I probably won't be good at it because it takes a lot of time to learn that craft. So I just like, even if I tried it, like I wouldn't put it out because I would never release it because it would probably be bad. So till I get like really good at something, you're not gonna find or hear anything new from me, which might not happen for a long time, you know, or it
How,
might happen like next year. I don't know.
how important, like you said, that you have to break yourself to create something new all the time.
Yeah.
How, how important is it for you to not sound like something that you sounded 2 years ago or 3 years ago?
It's
Does it
not like it's not, I have no rules. I have like no rules on how I used to sound or what, but it's just naturally happens, it's just I've realized every time I make something, like I mean, if you listen to Raat Razi, it's really different from Cold Mess, like already. And a lot of people just say, listen, have only heard Cold Mess, and they say that everything is the same, but then like it's just been 2 years. I mean, like, so it's just, I don't know. I think like, I mean, people have expectations and all, but I'm just gonna like do stuff that I like, to be honest. Like I thought about this for a bit and got to my head, and then eventually I was just like, I'm just gonna do stuff that I like.
do you see the kind of lyrics evolve with the years, or how do you see that? Do you go back and see, this is what I wrote now? This is more.
I don't look at my older stuff at all, actually. Yeah, I don't really like dissect or go and look into my, and that's an interesting thing. Maybe I should do that actually, now that you say it. But once I put something out, I'd never listen to it again for a very long time. Like I heard some stuff from In Tokens and Charms, I think last year, after like 6 years of putting it out.
Okay.
Like I just never, or maybe if I heard it in the middle once or something. Like I don't listen to my older stuff regularly at all, so I
Is it
don't really know.
is it because that you could turn critical about your own stuff, because most artists end up doing that, or
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff I hate from back then, so I don't listen to it because I hate it. It just makes me uncomfortable that I put it out in the first place. So I just push it out of my, like, view. But there's also stuff that I like that I put out, which is old, but I just don't think about it because I guess you're just working on the new thing, next thing. So doesn't really occur to you to think about what you've already put out because it's done now. I'm excited about the next thing. As a musician, you're always just excited about what you're going to release, really. You don't really care about what you've already put out. What you've put out, you're done with. You're over it.
yeah? What about the future now? What are you planning now? Anything that you can tell our audience?
Yeah, I mean, we have like two really cool music videos coming up for Shehron Ke Raaz. One for Shehron Ke Raaz, one for Khone Do, which is the other song we're doing a music video for. And that's gonna come out soon, and they're really beautiful. So, I hope everybody watches them. And the other thing that I'm doing right now, I'm in the US working on my next English album. So that's going to be a full length, longer album. And that's the other really exciting thing that's the only thing on my mind these days, really. But that's all I'm going to say about it. When it's going to come out, what's going to happen, I don't know. But I'm working on it.
Can I again request you to hum some 2 lines, maybe a line?
I can't, I'm really bad at a cappella singing. I'm sorry. I get very uncomfortable.
So thank you very much for speaking to
Yeah,
me.
thanks so much.
Tell me about Dubai. That's the last question, right? About Dubai, what was the audience like and how did you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, it was a really fun show. I had a really good time. I actually wanted to come back there just for like a couple of days off, but then the pandemic happened and we couldn't travel. But I had a really fun show. I yeah, yeah. I think I don't remember the name of the venue, but where we stayed was really really nice, and like the people were really nice. It was a fun show. Uh, I saw a small part of Dubai. I didn't see like go into the city and see it extensively. There's a lot more to it, I hear, but I saw a very small part. But whatever I did, it was very fun. Yeah.
So hope to see you in Dubai sometime
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Proper interview with you live, not like this.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. For sure.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
I had a really good chat.